Hello, Pain Stream. How you doing? It's been a while since I did a Pain Stream video. You won't see any difference because I'll just keep posting them. I still have a lot to post. I think I have about 45 more to post. But I haven't done one in a while. One, for that reason, that I still have a lot to post and it's a lot on my storage. But to be honest, too, because we're getting to this point where it's a lot of biblical quotes, and I don't necessarily have a problem with that. But on one hand, I don't want to be too preachy. And, a lot of people aren't into just repeated Bible quotes, and that gets boring. And also, too, though, if I don't agree with them, I also don't want to just, get down on the Bible or on Christians. So I don't want to get in that rut. So, but I did a couple videos tonight for the other streams, and I thought, well, let me pop in a pain stream video. And I have been reading this book called Outrageous Openness by Tasha Silver, Tosha Silver. And the reason why I'm reading it is because it was recommended to me by two people. One, before the holidays, a recruiter actually. We got to talking, and his girlfriend manages a meditation center in Manhattan, and she got him to read this book, and it changed his life and his outlook on things, and now he's into meditation, all excited about that. So he had recommended this book to me. So I looked at it and I said, okay, well, I think I'm good. I think I'm past this information, or I also already know it, so I don't need to do that. Well, then I went to this acupuncturist, and she said the same thing. You should read this book. And I said, oh, I heard about that book. Someone else told me to read it. So she said, well, clearly that means someone's telling you need to read the book. And I said, yes, I agree with that. So I will read the book. So I bought the book. It's a very quick read and very fun read, very interesting read. I have to say that the information is not new for me. It's information I already know. It's information I don't put into practice nearly as well. I don't know anyone that puts it into practice nearly as well as Tasha Silver. But she also explains it in stories. So it makes it very accessible to more people. And it also makes it easy to remember, because it's much easier to remember a story than it is to remember a quote. So maybe that's the message for me. Maybe it's shut up and stop telling people quotes from things, because that's boring and nobody wants to hear that, which is okay. It helped me get through a tough time, so I'm giving you what I got. But maybe the idea is try to think of stories. And I wish I would have kept stories about interesting things that I remember that are that remind us about the divine or serendipity, or the way that Spirit tells us we should be living and what we should follow, because they are great stories and they do help us remember beautiful things. Kind of like Chicken Soup for the Soul. Remember those books where people had shared wonderful messages through stories? And so more along those lines. And maybe that's what I was trying to do when I was trying to write down or try to write that screenplay. I put it down. I got through the first act, and I haven't touched it since. And I don't know if I'll ever touch it again. I want to, but it's hard. I'm not a writer, and am bad. But I would like to get it out of me and onto paper or some other medium. But I am glad so far for having done that, because I wrote so many things about the experience that I've had in my relationship, and I was able to analyze and record and track and review so much that it's blown my mind how things have really transpired, and it's actually helped me to be more spiritual. So maybe that's the message for me. I don't know, but my message for you is don't be klutz. and go out and get this book and read it. And it's great. So especially if you're getting some of this information for the first time through this, yeah, it'll blow your mind. So I highly recommend it. But anyway, in the beginning of every chapter, she shares quotes. So I wrote down some quotes that I would like to share. So I'll do that as well as read the pages from my book. So I'll pepper that in with these pages so that it's not all just Bible quotes. The other thing I wanted to talk about real quick was, I mentioned it on the health stream, there's a meditation article about Steve Jobs. And it said that, I don't know how they figured this out, but when he died, he was 56, which is very young. His brain, the age of his brain was equal to that of a 27-year-old. And that is because he meditated. Now, if that isn't a reason to start meditating right now, pause and just meditate for however long and then come back. I don't know what is. How do you not want that? Who doesn't want that? And you can't say, I don't have time. Although people have told me they don't have time because you don't have 5 minutes a day. Because how much Netflix are you watching? Netflix is great, don't get me wrong. But you could turn it off for 5 minutes. You could. You could meditate in the shower. You can meditate on the train. You can meditate literally anywhere. At your desk, no one has to know. So, meditation, people, please, meditation. So let's go with one of the quotes that I wrote down from the book. Ooh. This is the one that I wanted to read you, I'm sure, because probably it's the same thing I've been saying about whether you believe or not. And, we're talking about the Bible and whether you believe in God or the universe or not. It doesn't matter. You don't have to believe it for it to be true. So the quote that she wrote in her book is from page 50, from Anonymous, and it's so good. The God that atheists don't believe in never existed anyway. Think about that. Chew on that with your hat. The God that atheists don't believe in never existed anyway. Yeah. Doesn't mean there isn't a God. Just means, just because you don't believe in the God that you were taught when you were young, or this, fictional guy on a cloud, old white guy, who is not the best representation of God that I can think of, because right now, old white guys are not representing well on the planet. Just saying. Yeah, just because you don't believe in that God doesn't mean that there's not something else out there. There's not the infinite maestro. So I think that quote is really, really awesome and kind of speaks to things that we've talked about. Gotta believe it to achieve it. All right, let's go to the pages. Ready? This is a long one. Before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now I obey your word. You are good, and what you do is good. Teach me your decrees. Though the arrogant have smeared me with lies, I keep your precepts with all my heart. Their hearts are callous and unfeeling, but I delight in your law. It was good for me to be afflicted. It was good for me to be afflicted, so that I might learn your decrees. The law from your mouth is more precious to me than thousands of pieces of silver or gold. Your hands made me and formed me. Give me understanding to learn your commands. May those who fear you rejoice when they see me. For I have put my hope in your word. I know, O Lord, that your laws are righteous, and in faithfulness you have afflicted me. May your unfailing love be my comfort according to your promise to your servant. Let your compassion come to me that I may live, for your law is my delight. Psalm 119, 67 to 77. Yeah, that was a long one. But clearly, the idea of being afflicted. And, I don't know about the idea of God afflicting you to teach you lessons. The way that I see it is more, you're afflicted because you didn't listen, right? You did some stupid stuff that you probably shouldn't have done. And, yeah, you got a little affliction. So, there are rules to the game. You broke the rules. You didn't want to listen, and, you suffered because of it. Not because God is mad at you or wants to punish you or you're a bad child, but just because he doesn't want you to suffer. And he knows, like, hey, I'm kind of giving you these guidelines because I don't want to see you get hurt, and then you just do it anyway, and you get hurt, and then you get mad at me. I'm trying to tell you what to do to not get hurt. Right? I mean, isn't that what kind of a parent would say? So, I don't know. Although I'm sure there are parents too who are just like, no, just these are my rules, and if you don't listen, then you get punished. So maybe it's not. This is better than a parent. This is better, yeah. So, that's how I think of it. Doesn't mean it's right, but it makes me feel better. So, do what you will. Next. What is rewarded is repeated. That's Andy Stanley. He is the head pastor of, I want to say, North Point Community Church in Atlanta, or Alpharetta, Georgia, and I think there's one in Atlanta. I think that's the name of the church. His father was Charles Stanley, who is the pastor of, I want to say, First Baptist in Atlanta, he was one of the individuals who helped me get through my dark night of the soul period. His voice was so soothing. Oh my goodness. It was a radio broadcast. Oh, you got it. If you listen to them. Now, Abraham Hicks is the thing that puts me to sleep, but not in a bad way, but soothing voice that has good messages and is encouraging. I go through periods where it's different people. It's the messages that you need, I guess, and then their voice just resonates with you in a way that is comforting. I take joy in doing your will, my God, for your law is written on my heart. Psalm 48. Here is my final conclusion. Fear God and obey his commands, for this is the duty of every person. Ecclesiastes 12:13. I don't know. I'm not going in the fear direction, but okay. Believe what you will. I cry out to God Most High, to God who will fulfill his purpose for me. Cry out to God Most High. Psalm 57:2. So hope you enjoyed that. Hope something in there jostled something for you. Now go meditate. Peace out.